All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great most honorable well, and taught me this truth. And Shalom to the Lord's elect. Okay, the elect of Yahweh Shai, the elect of Israel, starting with 144,000. Yeah, man. Hey, there's news. There's news over here in the UK. Okay, the Brit card. Okay, you can see the title here in the Independent. It says every UK working adult will need Brit card, digital ID on the STUM plan to tackle illegal immigration. And we've been saying for the longest, brothers, elders, brothers doing videos that this has been in the pipeline, man. Hey, Tony Blair, who was part of the Labour government, he's been, and even before him really, but Tony Blair was pushing this. He was really, and they mentioned that in the news as well. They said that Tony Blair was an advocate of this and he was pushing this, and we know that Tony Blair, that guy's right in there with the elites, man. He goes to certain events to do with the elites. He's right in there. Elder Amar was bringing that information out. And pretty much, this government, man, they're ultimately they're puppets of the elites, and the elites, they've come out and said what they're trying to do, what the end result is of what they want. And it's all according to prophecy, which I'm going to read for you in the scriptures. There's we know that this is all going to go down because it's all prophecy. Okay, and things like this. Excuse me, I'm a bit under the weather. The Brit card, digital ID, is leading up to the ultimate form of ID in this man's system, which is the microchip. Okay. Now you had an interview with Alex Jones and Aaron Russo, and Aaron Russo spoke of his friendship with Nick Rockefeller, which is one of the elites, one of the international banking elite families. And he asked him, like, what's all this about? And he basically told him, look, we want to chip all the people. Okay. Now they've already got trial runs of this in places like Sweden, where people are already getting, chipped, open doors, this and that ID. Okay. You can see the way the banking system and the payment systems are changing in their approach to ID. Things are getting tighter. Okay. In order for you to open a bank account or to verify certain things, what do you have to do? Even on YouTube, you got to verify your age and things like that. On the internet, they've got different laws about that. You got to constantly verify who you are. You got something called Know Your Customer, KYC. Okay, when you go to a bank, you have a KYC department, and what they deal with is what? They link your money to who you are. Okay. And even when it comes to business and things like that, that starts to fall under money laundering and anti-money laundering laws and things of that nature. Now, what this devil does is, now it says here it says, let's read it actually. Every working adult in Britain will be required to have a new government-issued digital identity card as part of a fresh attempt to crack down on illegal migration, which this so-called problem of the migration was set up by the government in the first place. Okay. This is just the old ploy, man. And even in the Roman Empire, in the ancient Roman Empire, they were complaining of immigration before it fell. It says the Prime Minister is expected to announce his backing for the Brit card scheme, which would verify individuals' right to live and work in the UK, in a speech on Friday. The plan, which would require a law change to implement, right? Now, let's get a scripture on that, because that's part of how we've been saying it. That's how they do what they got to do, right? Two scriptures come to mind. I think one is here we go. This is Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law. And that's what he's doing. Okay, he's making these unrighteous decrees, which we're going to get, to push forward his agenda of, complete control and enslavement of the people. All right. And that's not Esau's, Esau was going to have control for a time, but ultimately he's not going to, have, he wants to be like the Most High. Okay. He wants to know everything. And the Lord is not going to, allow that. Okay. When this man implements the chip, pretty much everything from there is going to move quick in terms of his downfall. Okay. Because that's like the last step. That's like the major prophecy we're waiting for. That's the last step before this man is able to fulfill his agenda. Okay. And he's not going to be able to fully fulfill his New World Order agenda. Okay. That chip is like that step into that New World Order agenda. It's that big step. And the Lord's going to allow him to do it according to prophecy. Okay. And most of the people are going to take it. But ultimately, his New World Order is not going to stand. Right, this is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Okay, and that's pretty much what this devil does. He pushes forth these plans. He creates a problem, and then he brings his solution by passing these unrighteous decrees. Okay, in the kingdom, we're going to go according to what the laws that are, given from Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai. The commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments are already there. That's how we're going to be governing, okay, pursuant to, I ain't going to get it, but pursuant to Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, that's how we're going to be governing, okay? We ain't just making up laws as we go along according to our whims. Now, let's go to Revelation from there. And get the actual, the Mark prophecy. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Now, this is talking about the mark there. It's talking about an implantable chip device, okay? In fact, when you go further into that word in the Greek, the word there is charagma, which pretty much talks about something that is cut into you. That's I think that's inserted into you through cutting. Okay, and you can go further into the root words of that. Karax, which is the device that is implemented through, and then it ultimately goes to the word grapho, which goes into the information that is recorded in the actual chip. Okay, because remember, this chip is gonna have your ID, your money, your health records. It's gonna have all of that in it. Okay, that's what this devil wants to do. That's his ultimate plan. That's why you've got all this information. Like, for example, we have IDs right now. Okay, we have driving licenses. We've got passports. Okay, what this devil's saying is, now we need to make this digital. He's saying, well, digital's going to be harder to come by for illegal immigrants and things of that nature. Whatever BS that he's sprouting out there to, of the reason why they need to do that. Now, ultimately, eventually, they're going to bring it to a stage where they're going to say, nah, we need to chip the people. It needs to be mandatory, and your information needs to be on that chip. That's how it needs to be. And that's all part of prophecy. So steps like this is big steps towards that mark. Okay, gradualism. And as it says here, you ain't going to be able to buy or sell unless you had that mark. Now, if you go to the store now, okay, and you got cash, you can buy something. Okay, that's legal tender. Now you go to a store that doesn't accept cash, because there's stores out there that take card only. you need a bank account. Okay? You need a debit, you need a master, you need some kind of bank account to pay with that card. Now, in order to have a bank account, you need to show forms of ID. Okay, you need to go through that KYC process. So they're pushing for a cashless society as it is. Okay? And they're pushing for a society where everything you do is recorded. Every transaction that you do is authorized or not authorized. And it's the same thing with this. Without that, eventually it's going to come to a point where they're going to push this chip, okay, which is the mark. And without that, you ain't going to be able to buy or sell. Now, those of us in the know, those of us who have heeded the warning, are not going to take that chip. We're going to trust in Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, to protect us in that time. All right? Let me get a precept on that. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word, this is written in red. This is Yahweh Shai speaking. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, okay, which is this word, okay, what we're doing right now, this faith, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So that hour of temptation is going to come where everyone's going to be tempted of the devil, and most people, okay, the masses, if you will, that's, you know, which mass goes into death, are going to take that chip. All right, and they're going to be destroyed with that chip. That's pursuant to Revelation 14, and let's read that. Verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Meaning you're going to be part of that destruction, man. All right? You know, you're going to have the missiles, the thermonuclear destruction, World War III. Okay? The different forms of death and destruction. Lasers from the chariots. All sorts of death is going to come to those that sided with the devil, Esau, and didn't trust Yahweh Shmi Shai. You know, those of our people, they're going to have to get destroyed, man, for not having that faith. All right. What's that in damn, it might be 2. Yeah, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So we're not ignorant of these things. We've been telling you, we've been warning you, been seeing the slight increments of this man's steps towards that chip, and this is another step. All right. So, hey, you know, hey, we're in the end times. Okay, you know, it's just a matter of time before these major prophecies are pushed. You know, this devil stirring the pot, man. You know, Revelation 12 and 12 is getting ready to come down hard. So, hey, keep the faith, and keep praying, you know. So with that, man, I'm going to say shalom. Shalom to the Lord's elect.